road. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Not.So.Burundian here, coming to you yet again with another video. And we will not be exploring a neighborhood or anything of the sort. I just want to talk about some things today. So we will not be exploring or checking out any neighborhood in particular. But I'll be right back though, shortly after this entry clip. Don't go anywhere. So I decided to take a short stroll today into the city. I actually wanted to work out, but then, well, I am working out. I just decided to incorporate a video into it all. So, if you're Burundian and you're watching this video, you already know. Rather, you know that by 10th March, there will be none of these things, these yellow tricycles, there will be none of them allowed into the city. No tricycles allowed into the city. No bicycles allowed in the center of the city. No motorcycles, one of these that carry passengers, will be allowed into the city. In the city center, rather, because it's a specific portion of the city that they're not allowed to be in. And you know, as vague as the speech was, where many Burundians are left stranded, is that the speech given by the said individual was so vague, in the sense that nobody really knows if they meant commercial, tricycles, bikes, and bicycles, or they meant everything all together. Be it commercial or personal. But the general sentiment that you get when you ask people, or even our friends in blue. I did ask some of our friends in blue when I was riding around yesterday if I asked for clarification, because I didn't know if the rules applied to everyone. Those riding bikes and tricycles for commercial purposes, as in carrying passengers, or if it was just solely for, or if the rules applied to everyone. I wasn't so sure. And so the general sentiment that our friends in blue gave me, the general impression that I got from them, was that the rules apply to everyone. No exceptions. If you own a bicycle, if you own a scooter, if you own a motorcycle, you are not allowed into the center of the city. Like, even where I am right now, it'll be illegal for you to be here. That's the general sentiment. There has been no further clarification given. Because, you know, the person that gave the announcement started off well, but the way in which they finished the announcement is what left most people perplexed, so I should say. Because at the end of the announcement, he said the only motorcycles allowed, the only two-wheel vehicles or three-wheel vehicles allowed in the center of the city will be those that have a plate number that is either government or police. So when he finished like that, everybody was just confused at the end of that speech. So yeah, which basically means that even I will not be able to ride in this part of the city. Like me, a person who's just working out. So you got that, there's that. And so, as a citizen, as a Burundian, it got me wondering. I was confused. Oh, by the way, I'm currently in Nyakabiga, for those of you that are wondering. I'm in Nyakabiga right now, just riding through, you know. So yeah. So let's assume that one of the things that was said is true, which is no tricycles, no bicycles, no motorcycles that are being used for commercial purposes, i.e. carrying passengers, are allowed in the city center. Okay, I guess then they will be limiting the choices of travel that people have. What are the consequences of that? Well, it is not a secret that we have a shortage of commuter buses, because even when Burundians had a choice, the buses were still far and few in between. Basically, when you need a bus, you couldn't come across one. You have to stand and wait at a particular stop for too long. And when it came to closing hours of the day in a bus park that is in town, where it is said that everybody gets a bus from, people would queue for hours waiting for buses that don't turn up for a really, really long time. And now that you've taken away the choice, or rather the option, of people taking whatever they want, so you are forcing us all to flock into a particular mode of transport, the buses, that are scarce to begin with. So they are leaving us in a predicament. All right. So they've left us in a predicament, really. That's one. Two, well, a lot of people were depending on these modes of transport for survival, man. There is a countless number of tricycles and motorcycles that are used for public transportation. These yellow things are tricycles. We call them Bajaj out here, but some people know them as Tuk Tuk. They would have alienated a huge chunk of their customer base, because a huge chunk of their customer base is people that travel to and from the city center. You know, that's where the majority of the economic activities is concentrated. And so they will suffer. And I guess this is one of those things where somebody says that now they will begin to see the importance of unions. Because if they had a union that would speak up for them, Actually, let me not say that. I don't know if whether or not a union exists. They might be having a union, but I don't know. But if they don't, now they will see the importance of the existence of unions. Because a strong union would be able to speak out for them, or it would have been involved in a decision-making process. And by the way, I happen to think that the decision-making was rushed. That's all I'm going to say on that topic, though. And then one other thing, let's assume that the second part is true, which is, let's assume that they mean all two-wheelers, that it doesn't matter if it's used for commercial or if it's used for personal purposes, meaning even a person like me will not be allowed into the city center. And when you look at the boundaries that they've set, it just basically means that I will be unable to cross from one part of Bujumbura to the other legally. I'll be unable to, according to what they described to be the boundaries of travel. So now that creates a major problem, a big problem actually, because then someone would be wondering, because then a question can be posed, which is, okay, all Burundians cannot afford a particular mode of transport, you know? Not all Burundians can afford to buy a car. There are those of us that bought motorcycles, scooters, and those of us that, you know, ride on bicycles for our daily travel. So if you alienate us, and by the way, most of us work in the city center that is. That's how we used to get to and from the city center, with our bicycles, with our scooters, with our motorcycles. So if the second part is true, which is everybody is included in the new law, so that means we are forced to forego our motorcycles and bicycles and scooters, and are instead being forced to take a bus or a taxi, which is an expense that most of us avoided by buying our own transportation, and the rest of us just chose to avoid all expenses together by buying a bicycle. Because mind you, Bujumbura is really not all that big. I swear, you can ride from one part of Bujumbura, from the extreme end, northeast, west, north, south, east, west, from one side to another within 1 hour if you maintain a speed of 30 kilometers an hour, or 20, to be realistic, 26 kilometers an hour. You can make one side of Bujumbura to another really easily. Hold on, let me cross. We are green, which means we're good to go. And so I'm actually currently heading to the city center. Well, I am already in the city center, a part of the city where I will not be allowed to be in the next 13 days or 12 days. Today's the 17th. No, today's the 27th, sorry. I will not be allowed to be here on two wheels. And so, like I said, if the second part is true, which is we are not allowed to be in the city, then how do you expect us to move around? And by the way, if you are to watch the particular speech that was given in Burundi, let me see, the exact translation of what was said was, no bicycles no scooters, no motorcycles allowed in the city. And none in the city center, sorry. And none of those modes of transport are allowed to depart. You know, once you've closed your day and you happen to live within the neighborhoods that are in the city, you know, like Rohero is included, Kinindo is included, Kigobe is also included according to some of our friends in blue. Kigobe is in it, Mutanga, Gihosha, all those neighborhoods are included. You cannot step out of your house and ride within the neighborhood because you have been made illegal. No bicycles allowed. So basically just tie it up in your house, lock it up somewhere. Get a taxi or a bus. And mind you, buses are limited to tarmac. You have to walk a certain distance to get to the part where you get a bus from. Something that most of us used to avoid by just simply taking a motorcycle or taking a tricycle. So yeah, and the reasons for the decisions that we're given was that apparently when they looked at the given statistics, the said bicycles, motorcycles, and tricycles were the main cause of road accidents, and they were the main cause of traffic in the city. Which brings me to the next topic, which is it really these modes of transport that are causing accidents, or is it the fact that a lot of the people in Burundi, well, let's just be honest now, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. A lot of us, I'm not included, a lot of us bought our licenses. Yeah, we probably attended driving school for like a week or 3 weeks and then stopped once we assumed we knew how to drive a car and just decided to buy the license instead. Now this is the thing, nobody can deny it. This is true. So is it that people do not know the rules or road etiquettes, which is the reason for most of the accidents? Or is it, as they said, tricycles, bicycles, and motorcycles just happen to cause accidents? They just happen to be the reason why we have many road accidents. Now that's the question that some of you will have to answer. And I guarantee that if I was to test, I've got about 1,200 something subscribers, and I assume a huge chunk of you are Burundian. I know that if I was to test you guys as far as driving is concerned, a lot of you would fail. A lot of you will leave me wondering how exactly you acquired the license. Because we all know how the majority of us got to acquire them. That being said, I acquired my license from Kenya, and it took me 6 months to acquire the license, and that wasn't even the final license. That was the what do you call them in English? It's called the provisional license, which means you can only drive under the supervision of somebody, be it a family member or whatever. You just have to always have a second person in the car with a license, with a driving license, the final. to supervise your driving. So basically they give you a year to drive. Within that 1 year, they will be counting your traffic infractions, accidents, and all of that in order to determine that you are good for the final license. And so that's what I did. Oh, we did a lot of studying in class as far as traffic and traffic etiquette is concerned. So that being said, I do believe that I am qualified to test some of you. I actually wanted to do most of the riding within the city. I didn't want to come all this way. And I also didn't want to be recording for too long. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Whereas the rest of the world is going green by encouraging people to be cycling, we, on the other hand, are discouraging cyclists. And again, that's assuming that even those of us that cycle for personal reasons, that use bicycles for personal reasons, are included in the new law. It means they do not encourage cycling in the city. It's impossible to cycle every day without somehow finding yourself in a city center or crossing the city center into the next part of the city, because the city center is basically a border between the different parts of Bujumbura city. You have to cross the city center to get to the other part. So yeah. Bujumbura says that we are not roadworthy in certain parts of the city. But yeah, so there is still time between now and the 10th when the said law will come into act. I guess there will be time to deliberate, time for them to explain some more as to what they actually mean, but we will see. We will see. I mean, how many bicycles does it really take to cause traffic in the city? I mean, come on, like seriously. How many of us does it take to cause traffic? How many of us does it take to cause accidents that actually affect the insurance companies? Because bicycles are damn near not insured. They're not insured at all. So yeah, that's all that I wanted to talk about today. Other than that, as you guys can see, it's getting dark right now. I actually left the house at around 4:15 p.m. So it's in the evening right now. We are running out of time. It's getting dark. So yeah. So those of you that actually really know what's going on, those of you that know without a doubt and can explain exactly what was said, please leave a comment in the comment section, because I am still wondering as to whether the law includes those of us that ride for personal reasons, or those of us that own motorcycles personally and not commercially, or scooters. Everywhere that you see me riding right now, effective on the 10th of March, we will not be allowed to be. And so leave a comment in the comment section and let us know if you know without a doubt what they meant by everything. And also one other thing that I was wondering about was, look, for 4 hours in the morning, now for the first 5 hours of the day, that's before 12:30, every single car that you see in the city is parked. What do I mean by parked? It means they are parked at work. It means that during certain hours of the day, traffic is almost zero. Well, not entirely, but you know, a lot of the people that use cars are parked at work. So let's say for 8 hours in the day, for 8 hours of sunlight, traffic is at its minimum. 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours at night, no traffic on the roads. Traffic is only ever really concentrated on the road during afternoons. Afternoon, that is when people come to and from work, and in the evening when people are going home. That's the only time during the day that traffic can be said to be high. So there's that. So really this whole thing is being decided because of the results that are seen during the peak hours of traffic. And there's only really 2 hours during the day when these accidents can be accounted for the most. 2 hours of the day have caused 90% of the population to be affected. Now, I'm not going to be the one that says or asks. I'm not going to be the one that counters the decision that was made. But one has to wonder what really was considered during the decision making. Hold on, I'm trying to cross into the other side. So one has to wonder what was put into consideration during the making of the decisions that were made. But anyway, I am not the leader. I am not a person that can effectively bring about change or whatever. We leave that to the people that are up there, and they decided what they decided, and they put it out there for the rest of us to follow, and we have no other choice but to follow whatever it is that was said. We can appeal, we can complain, but that's about most of what we can do. So we can have a discussion in the comment section. Those of you that are interested, I just wanted to put it out there. I'm going to end the video here because it's getting dark. The action camera is not that good in the dark, and also I do not want to make the video too long. I'm pretty sure I have already crossed the 25-minute mark. And so, until next time, guys, this is Not.So.Burundian here. I am signing out. See you guys next time.